Welcome back again. Today we will continue to discuss methodologies. The natural approach. The natural approach was created in the 1970s. The principle of the approach is the student can learn the target language on their own naturally instead of by preset lessons. Remember when you were young? You didn't have to know what hot meant to stay away from the stove. It worked on this principle. The students learn the target language and vocabulary quickly from their surroundings and learn grammar rules by speaking and deducting them eventually. Speaking and vocabulary would be the main focus of their learning. Students are taught by listening to the teacher speak in the target language, in this case English, and are not allowed to speak their native language in class. They learn from observing and listening. A teacher may hold up a pencil and say, pencil, but the teacher would not hold up a pencil and say, le crayon. Pencil. Students would have to figure out that the item the teacher is holding up is called a pencil. The teacher will not give them a crutch by telling them in the native language both words. The student then graduates to basic greetings and names. My name is, how are you, I am fine, etc. The students then move to reading and writing. This may take several months to years depending on the retention of the student. After students learn how to effectively communicate, even though sometimes not in grammatically correct sentences, they move to games, activities, and group work to enhance their learning abilities. Many teachers resent this method, as they believe only new teachers use it as a cop-out because they don't know how to teach English correctly. Many teachers believe that a balance between grammar and speaking must be the yin and yang to teaching English. With all the methodologies that I listed, the next one combines much of what was listed. It is known as the communicative language teaching or the CLT method. Communicative language teaching. As many institutes became aware of the needs of students and the necessity to ensure all students learn properly, the CLT was created combining many of the above methods of teaching. It was created by the mid-1980s as an approach to create the perfect methodology to teach students. Its main principle was to teach students how to use the language in real-life communication, while developing speaking. Students are taught that speaking is as important as grammar. Students are taught grammar rules on certain days while speaking and vocabulary are taught on opposite days. Students work in pairs, use real-life situations, and use the audiolingual approach in order to help their listening skills. It blends the natural, direct, audiolingual and direct translation method into one method of teaching. The class is held in the target language and the students learn naturally in the beginning, but work into the direct grammar method to learn grammar rules, the audiolingual method to learn how to listen and the natural approach to learn how to speak about everyday situations. This makes the learning of the target language much easier on the student, but requires the teacher to spend more time planning a class in order to help facilitate a better learning environment. When you teach students a well-blended course that students can work on all parts of learning is the best for the 3 Ps approach. In order to help the students learn, you must have a student-centered approach to learning, where the students talk more than the teacher. The reason is because students need to practice as much as they can to improve their speaking and grammar. The 3 Ps approach helps students learn by having them practice and practice until they have mastered the language. Presentation. A teacher must present the lesson to the class. He or she then tries to make the lesson into a real-life situation. Students can visualize what they are going to learn. The teacher doesn't stop with the lesson until the student completely understands the lesson. The teacher can show diagrams, phrases and dialogues on the whiteboard with examples and explanations in order for the students to understand the lesson plan. A handout is given to the students in order for them to practice what was taught. Example: the teacher wants to teach the class about shopping. They are taught terms associated with shopping and phrases associated with asking for help or products. Practice. Once the students understand the lesson plan, it's their turn to practice. This is where group and teamwork come in play. The students then pretend they are shopping in a store to buy a product and need help. One student can be the shopkeeper, while the other student can be the patron. They can practice the dialogue that was shown and some of the vocabulary needed to help with the practice session. Production. Eventually, the teacher must test the students on their ability to know the language. The students must be able to speak to one and another without having to look in a book, their notes, or use index cards. Students should be capable of producing learned material by using their own imagination and thought processes. This is where CLT tries to implement with teaching. The students use real-life situations which have been explained by the teacher, and they are able to use the lessons in any situation outside of the classroom. That is all the time we have for today. In the next episode, we will discuss experimenting with methodologies. I hope to see you next time.